towards the results, towards their work and the progress throughout our continued relationship. We would like to stand and for prayers.
Okay, we're praying. Our Heavenly Father, the great potentate of the universe, we worship you and we praise you. You are God, and we look to you for your leadership and guidance today and always. In a very special way, you have decreed that your children live peaceably with each other. And in some ways, dear Lord, this declaration has been threatened around the world and in St. Lucia in particular. And so we just ask that you will be with us as we seek to launch this special initiative with a dream to reduce antisocial behavior and criminal elements in our country. We ask for your guidance. We pray that as the message will be issued from this place, that it is going to have the desired impact upon every nook and cranny in St. Lucia and upon every heart and every person who listens to this message, and may it be transmitted in other ways other than just the social media. We pray that you will be with this special seating and help, dear Lord, that what transpires here will be life-changing. We pause just a little to reflect upon those who have been hurt and who have been broken because of antisocial behaviors. We ask for the healing, and we ask for comfort, and we ask for transformation. We also pray for those who may have perpetrated criminal activities. We pray for a life-changing conversation with them, that things will change and our country will move from strength to strength and realize the peaceful coexistence that we all desire. Now, please grant beyond what we have asked you. Here we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
National anthem. Yes. Please remain standing for the national anthem. Thank you. Please sit. Firstly, we would like to recognize the presence of our local government officials, Senator Lisa Joyer. We have Permanent Secretary Dr. Charmaine Emmanuel, the advisor to the Prime Minister, Mr. Michael Willius. We'd like to recognize our partner organizations, the Director of SSDF, Mr. Saturnius Victorin, other member organizations, the Bankers Association, the representatives from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, our Assumption Parish Vieux Fort, the members of the Bond Lake Correctional Facility Administration who are with us, the police force, who is with us as well, the senior members, as well as the National Principals Association, all of our other member organizations, schools, principals, everyone who's joined hands and who is here to commemorate this alliance with us. Also the minister, honorable, well, not minister, but the parliamentary representative for Choiseul Saltibus, Honorable Bradley Felix. And I bid you all a warm welcome. Thank you for joining us here today, and not only for the moment, but for the strong alliance that we are putting forward, where we are going to pool our resources, our networks, our personnel, our efforts towards reducing the crime, reducing the violence, and all sorts of antisocial behaviors which may arise, and also not to be reactive, but to be in a preventative in a preventative mode. And that way we continue to curb and to reduce whatever may be present and to curb what may arise. We, of course, are grateful for everybody who has shown their interest in a number of valuable ways. We have valuable personnel who are with us and who are going to continue this work. Of course, we require everybody's network, whereas in some instances, we may work alone, but when it comes to the national effect of crime reduction, we must come together, and it starts first with a sense of camaraderie. So here we share positive emotions, positive thoughts, which are going to be backed by strong action. And for that, we all stand and salute, and we are grateful for such. We would, of course, like to move on and welcome the Permanent Secretary for Social Justice, Empowerment, Equity, Dr. Charmaine Emmanuel, to give remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am standing in for the Honorable Minister. Of course, I can't deliver as he would, but I will do my very best. Do allow me to adopt the protocol that has been established, but in particular, I'd like to recognize the presence of the parliamentary representative for Choiseul Saltibus, Honorable Bradley Felix, and also our esteemed Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment, Mrs. Celia Charles Arthur. Also, may I recognize this esteemed panel who will take us through the rest of the session, and most importantly, young persons who are here today. I am Charmaine Hippolyte Emmanuel, the Acting Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment. In place of the Honorable Minister, I shall share with you some brief remarks, of course, our combined belief and that of the ministry. Accept from me two deepest apologies for Honorable Henry's absence. He is actually attending a session which is of equal importance to today's sitting. Further, he has sent his best wishes and offered his commitment to this session that we're starting off today. I'm honored to join you in this program. It is a significant one. On this historic day, we all participate in this launch of what I refer to as the Game Changer Initiative, which we refer to as the Alliance for Community Transformation Act. I am confident that this venture will add to our community's resilience, inclusivity, and empowerment. I sincerely thank you, attendees, especially those who make up this alliance, for being here today. This fantastic partnership is rich with diverse thoughts, experience, and contributions. Your presence here today demonstrates a commitment to constructive change in our communities and one of service to our fellow men. in the great book Hebrews 13:16 said, and I quote, "Do not forget to do good and to share with others. For such sacrifices, God is pleased." This alliance, ladies and gentlemen, all, will transfer all that we allow it to. It will emerge from a vision of unity, collaboration, and deep concern. It is a platform that will bring together diverse stakeholders, individuals, organizations, and businesses under this one common umbrella dedicated to the holistic betterment of our community. This effort toward reducing crime and antisocial behavior at the micro, meso, and macro level is that which all of us should embrace and make it our priority. This gathering here today indicates that we have recognized and appreciated the urgency to address the social changes which threaten our safety and economic livelihood. As such, we call on all persons to engage more in volunteerism, while church organizations and other groups echo the need for caring and upholding values. We as individuals need to take up our responsibility to do so as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this alliance will unfold this alliance will unfold the one step at a time approach. That is, we ought not to depend on particular or targeted persons to play the game, but we need to take up our responsibilities as concerned citizens. While one may argue that the concept of it takes a village to raise a child, that concept may be dying out, I believe we can still hold on to the values and the concepts that underlie it. Without a united effort to address this critical concern of our social ills, our families, and St. Lucia by extension, we recognize too, that they are plagued with economic disparities, social and education inequalities, likewise environmental challenges, and of course spiritual concerns. The Alliance for Community Transformation forces a collective response, embodying the belief that we can create sustainable solutions and to foster positive social change. This alliance will ensure continuous work, promoting community engagement, enhancing educational opportunities, and driving economic development. Most importantly, we long to see the urgency in addressing the immediate and long-term needs of our young men especially, who seem to be most vulnerable to violence and environmental sustainability. By working collaboratively, we strive to empower individuals and families, leaving no one behind. It would be remiss of me not to remind you of this critical belief that Honorable Henry shares. He believes that it's important that fathers and young men especially create the avenue for generational wealth. That kind of wealth should not be just material, but it should be lifelong benefits, education, for example, positive parenting, and positive socialization. Ladies and gentlemen, youth, it would be remiss of me too not to mention the importance of this continuous dialogue among businesses, NGOs, government agencies, and individuals that need to be knitted towards this cause. This cohesion can only happen if we all agree to sing from one song sheet. Speaking of singing, I know there are some who may not be able to sing. Therefore, you can speak. Some of you may be too shy to speak. Therefore, you could hold up the sheet, holding up the sheet or someone's hand like a good prophet would say. Those of you who are not able to do any of what I just mentioned, you just stand in solidarity with what the Alliance is set out to do today. The Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment remains committed through this effort. We remain committed to nurturing and supporting all that we can in order for us to receive or benefit from meaningful impact. While we celebrate today's activity, we must consider it as a call for action, that which will create a new path for our communities. Be a business leader, a responsible parent, a committed worker, a zealous community member, an organizer. Collectively, we can and should realize the harmonious, resilient, prosperous, and a safe community. We do hope that this launch serves as the start of a new chapter in St. Lucia's history. May this Alliance for Community Transformation, or ACT, serve as a catalyst towards progress and positive change. May all activities undertaken here today count as impactful and beneficial. As the parent ministry to the SSDF, we offer our continuous pledge and commitment to all efforts geared toward the prescribed and planned activities. I am confident that we shall act through the Alliance through community transformation. In closing, I shall share with you what Margaret Whitley said, and I quote, "There is no power for change more significant than a community discovering what it cares about." ACT. Ladies and gentlemen all, I thank you and congratulations.
Thank you once again, Dr. Emmanuel. We would like to welcome Mr. Cuthbert Henry to give us our opening remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Permit me to rely on the protocol established before me, and I greet you all well. Just a sidebar, I know we in this environment for the first time, and I welcome myself here, likewise I welcome you. And I would like you to understand the connotation of being here in this space, the same way crime is tight and is close to us. And I ask you to dig deep, the same energies that you have when you go to the country and western and you rub it, and when you your perfume, somebody go with it. The same energy you have when you're in the church and you're in the gospel and it's taking you hard, use that energy. The same energy you have when you're at the political meetings and you can stand in the rain and the mud, use that energy today and let us bear this thing out, because that is the kind of energy we will require to deal with what ACT wants us to do as a St. Lucia. Today, we are gathered here basically to demonstrate an intention to act together in synergy and all mutualism for the benefit of one person, that is the human person. The human person that we all are one in one way or another, in love or in pain. The Alliance for Community Transformation, which we celebrate our launch today, is a work in progress aiming to bring a consortium of services together through a network of professionals and service provision. Whether it be public sector, private corporate sector, or non-governmental entities, the concept is to have a menu of reliable resources through which all citizens can benefit from a seamless structured referral system to treat, service, or intervene directly with the risk and needs of our citizens. Some referrals will emanate from agencies, whilst unattached persons may avail themselves to the ACT Secretariat for service direction. We hope to reduce secondary and tertiary re-victimization as well as traumatization through standardized referral mechanisms. Such well-functioning referral systems amongst Alliance partners will drive an ethos to ease the strain on victims and persons at risk in their journey to be better emitters of love and light. We are aware that this journey of working together, as it's only together we can, will not be without great challenge, and so we must have the commensurate courage and determination to work with our brothers and sisters for the benefit of the now and the future. The Alliance is continuously open to receive credible support and service enlistment, for it's only through credibility and fidelity of services rendered by the consortium of partners can we achieve this one ultimate human desire of sweet progress in our lifetime. Long live the Alliance. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Henry, for those warm remarks. I am the moderator the MC for today. Edison Lane, I'm here as a representative of the Ubuntu, and I am the president of the Ambassadors of Justice and Peace, which is under the umbrella of the Ubuntu. And essentially we're young people coming together for this very same cause. I'd like to introduce our esteemed moderator, Mr. Honorable Priest Kailash, who is going to introduce the panelists. And yes, give thanks.
Bless. Yes, give thanks. Give thanks for life and the mighty life giver. Let's all acknowledge the presence of the divine among us. Yes, let's acknowledge the presence of the divine among us and also give thanks for the protocol established. I would also like to recognize the presence of two people I'm seeing within the audience. These are the people that we refer to as our point persons. Could you please stand up so that the people could see who you are? So these are 2 point persons that you could have a seat, please. These are people within the Vieux Fort community who have undergone trauma from the losing of children, to the point that they are the point people within the same affected communities that actually bring in information and rally the rest of the community in Vieux Fort to actually engage in all the enriching activities that the resource center is actually providing. I'd like to also acknowledge Honorable Brother CJ, who gave a tremendous hand in actually getting the space ready, and for the Seeds Resource Center to accommodate us here today, and our sister, yes, Saskia. The reason why ACT was actually created, I would want to say, is that because even the strongest cable is not just one piece of steel. You know, it's fine strands of steel that's knotted together to actually create that unit of strength. If you have one little matchstick and you try to break it, it'll break very quickly. But if you put 4 matchsticks and 8 matchsticks, the more matchsticks you put together, the more strength you actually get. So this represents an effort of unity, and everyone here is in that spirit of love and unity, as Dr. King would say. I don't see him here, but he'd say the fundamental spirit is that spirit of love. Love for self and love for our community. So today we have a panel here, and the members of the panel are people who, through their works that they have done, have actually contributed in the upliftment of crime, right? The whole crime risk reduction, they have actually contributed. So many people we don't get the news on TV when it comes to, okay, well, that person prevented one youth from dying, and that person prevented that youth from dying. What we get is the news that someone has died. So give thanks. We have our honorable sister here, former Senator Mrs. Tobier, that's here for us today, representing True Value. And Mrs. Tobier is the one who actually always provides the Seeds Resource Center with all the chairs and the tables that they need whenever we have in our workshops. So she's an active component in whatever that is being done in the community of Vieux Fort. We have Honorable Sherry here, who is basically representing Rise St. Lucia. And he is a team leader, the head of that establishment that is responsible for all the work that Rise has actually been doing in St. Lucia. And if you ask him what's the function of Rise, he'll tell you to what? To rise. You know, so give thanks. We have our sister Bernal here, who represents, she's the president of the Soufre Youth Group. but she calls herself a youth advocate, meaning that through her own personal experiences, you know, she has seen firsthand what certain levels of intervention can do, and I've actually not just seen it, but implemented it in Soufrière when the crime was actually high in Soufrière, and saw that there were positive results. So she is also an esteemed part of our panel. And we have the Honorable Senator Jawahir. Give thanks for taking the time out to be with us. She represents the government of St. Lucia, and she's going to be actually giving us some more information on exactly what the government is doing to help in the reduction of crime. And not just reducing crime, but just to make the young people more prosperous. That's why it's not about stopping crime. It's also about elevating the young people and putting them in that right space. And my brother, Mr. Victorin, you know, the SSDF, I remember when we were attempting to begin the SEEDS Resource Center, you know, myself and Dr. King, and also Mr. Andre Dan Paul, you know, we sat in the room with Mr. Victorin, you know, and he was one of the first contributors to say, well, Chris, you know, we see the importance of the resource center, so we are going to contribute towards ensuring that the place has by paying off some of the rent and all this. I'm putting the business out, because definitely we have to acknowledge who is doing what exactly they are doing. So Mr. Victory, give thanks for you know, affording us even the space that we are in right now, right? Give thanks. So he represents the SSDF, and he'll be speaking with us directly on what is it that the SSDF is doing and what it intends to do with the whole aspect of ACT, you know, which is the Alliance for Community Transformation. So since we're with you right now, Honorable, I want to start with you immediately. How will the Alliance for Community Transformation address crime and violence?
If I could just start with the genesis of the Alliance, where the concept actually came from. The concept of the Alliance came from an action by the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, who invited me to a meeting, and it is through his appreciation for the fact that crime is a byproduct of the social ills that exist out there, and also the fact that the St. Lucia Social Development Fund is the lead social protection agency on the island. We brainstormed about a few crime risk reduction initiatives, and that discussion led to the Alliance. Also present was a consultant with the SSDF, a crime risk reduction consultant with the SSDF who was present, Mr. Jean-Louis. And at that meeting, the concept of the meeting gave birth to the concept of the Alliance. And once we had agreed that it is a sound concept as it relates to unifying the agencies that implement crime risk reduction initiatives under one umbrella, to ensure that, one, we leverage the technical abilities of the human resource within these agencies. We also leverage the financial resources that these agencies bring to the table. We avoid duplication, because we all would be aware as to what we are doing, so that would be critical. Duplication ensures that human resources are used a lot more efficiently, as well as financial resources. So the move, once we had agreed on heading in that direction, we called a team of individuals, leaders of organizations that were basically on the same path, looking at implementing crime risk reduction initiatives. One of the individuals which we invited to the initial meeting was Dr. King. We invited Dr. King from the Citizens for Peace and Progress. That organization not too long ago organized a consultation on crime risk reduction, so we invited him to that meeting. We also invited Pastor Caius Albert, who at that time had Dr. Chaitan on island, and the Seventh-day Adventist Church was playing a lead role, because basically that was around the time when there was a spike in crime in Vieux Fort. So the Seventh-day Adventist Church was playing a lead role in crime reduction in the area. So we invited, as well as the SLHTA, which had a few crime risk reduction initiatives. So we met and we discussed the initiative, and we all agreed that there's value in an alliance. And from there, we decided to invite other key stakeholders, other key partners to a meeting, and let's discuss how we could actually operationalize the alliance. And that is basically the genesis of the alliance. Since then, it has been 1 year since we have been meeting as an organization, an alliance, to ensure that we iron out the kinks and ensure that we had something clear as it relates to the operationalization of the alliance. And Mr. Henry shared with the audience what we are looking at as it relates to the operationalization of the alliance. We are looking at building a sound referral system. We want to establish, the plan is to establish a secretariat for the alliance, and that secretariat will facilitate referrals. We are aware that there are a number of individuals who are out there in our society who have to cope on a daily basis with trauma. And one of the areas we are looking at definitely strengthening, so that once we refer individuals, the necessary change can be triggered, is the site of psychosocial support that is required for individuals engaged in such behavior. So we are looking at that. That's one of the areas that we are looking at. The alliance, also given the research that is out there, the data, one of the roles the alliance will play is to assess the existing data, as well as ensure that it conducts research to really get to understand the underbelly of crime. We are aware that it's social ills. Sometimes we conclude that it might be as a result of single-parent households, it might be as a result of unemployment, poverty, but we need to conduct sound research to really get to the underbelly of these social ills and better understand crime. So that will be a role of the alliance. The alliance also intends on developing a plan to implement some initiatives, some crime risk reduction initiatives. And my view on the approach, I've not discussed it with the general membership, but my view on the approach is that we will have to look at it thematically. And if we decide, based on the research, that one of the major challenges, one of the major social ills that give rise to crime is poor educational outcomes. Once we agree as an alliance that we are looking at poor educational outcomes, the Ministry of Education, all the major players now look at initiatives working together to address poor educational outcomes. Children dropping out of school, children not performing well in school, but working as a team to address that issue. The research by the Caribbean Family Youth Resilience Project did reveal that poor educational outcomes is one of the reasons why the crime rate has escalated over the years. So these are some of the areas that we are looking at. The research, developing a strategic plan to address some of the key social ills that give rise to crime, as well as establishing a sound referral system. These are key components of the operationalization of the alliance, what we intend on doing as an alliance. Hoping that I'm not too long. Let me just pass on to the moderator.
Well, I mean, I think you answer all the questions, eh? Yes, give thanks. Well, I still want to ask you a question from the perspective of just being a St. Lucian. You know, because it's not just that we are here representing office. We are representing St. Lucia. Ourselves first, then St. Lucia as a nation. As a St. Lucian man, what do you feel that as the chair of SSDF, what would be that driving force that would actually keep you committed for the long run? Because, you know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and, you know, and we just start off. What do you see as, not as SSDF, you know, but as Mr. Victorin?
Honorable, I love the fact that you brought up the long run, because that is critical. What we are looking at an alliance, it's basically addressing the leak at the point where it emanates. And it's not just coming afterwards and mop up the water. The water is there. We can't continue to mop up. We now have to identify that leak, and that is what the alliance is about. proactive measures and not necessarily reactive measures. And it requires a level of commitment. It can be tedious, extremely tedious, and we went through the experience of trying to organize a lunch, and you have a number of individuals sharing various ideas, but yet still, despite the time that it took, and in some instances, individuals might feel that it was tedious, but the reality is that we were able to find common ground and move forward, and this is why we are here today. The commitment that really drives me for almost my entire life, I've been passionate about the development of people. That really and truly drives me as an individual, the passion to see others develop. And if we are living in a society which is crime-riddled, severely affected by crime, no two ways about it, it affects the development of the people. Crime affects our country's GDP. If there is heightened criminal activity, it will affect the number of visitors that come to our shores. Tourism is a major industry, and I don't think I need to explain further how it affects our GDP as a country. It affects our own peace of mind as individuals. There are places that I would have ventured to before, really relaxed and comfortable, but nowadays I drive there and I have my concerns as to whether I should go there or not. And it's not to stigmatize any area, but it's just to be real about what is happening and be vigilant as an individual. So what drives me is really and truly my passion to see people develop, we grow, and I understand that if we are living in a society with a heightened state of crime, it affects the development of us all. That's the reality. It affects the development of us all. So yes, please, that is my take on it.
Yes, give thanks. Give thanks again. Just want to acknowledge the two members of the panel who just joined us. To our extreme right, and right in every sense, is Dr. Joseph, Virginia Joseph, who actually is a therapist. And our interaction at the Seeds, the King just stepped in himself. You know, Dr. King was the man who actually introduced me to Ms. Joseph, Dr. Virginia Joseph, because once we were in a meeting with the groups in Vieux Fort, and we were discussing with some of the leaders, you know, 3 of them, about why is it that the place is so violent, and one of the youth, you know, one of the people that people would say, well, this man there is a killer or this or that, he said, well, priest, you know, there is a sister right here who just lost a child, a 2-year-old child, and no one has actually come to even have a conversation with that child, that the mother of that child. So there was a mourning mother who, I'm sure we heard on the news that a 2-year-old child was actually shot, violently killed. And when we actually heard of that, immediately Dr. King said, Chris, you know, I'm going to call Dr. Joseph right away. And, you know, so that was my first introduction. And from the point of trauma, I'm saying what I witnessed, right? From the point whereby, from the first time we met this young lady where she was traumatized and could hardly speak, to the point where we came to where we had organized a cessation of hostilities. That same sister stood up and she said that she had forgiven the people who actually took the life of a child. That was as a result of the intervention when it comes to the whole aspect of the psychological aspect or the traumas that crime actually cause. It's not only the person that died, but also the person that person have left behind. And also, you would also say, Dr. Joseph, the family of the people themselves that have actually perpetrated the crime. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We only have about 5 minutes. You don't try and break Mr. Victrin's record. You know, we have about 5 minutes.
Okay, good morning to all. I'm Virginia Joseph. I'm a counseling psychologist by profession. In March last year, Dr. King reached out to me requesting some support to the victims affected by the shooting in Vieux Fort. At that time, I mobilized a team of 8 counselors that we provided psychosocial support through virtual. We actually reached out to over 50 persons. I mean, that was children, families directly affected by the crime. And then from then, since I already had a team, along with Dr. King's support.
Yes. Just put it on by closer to your lips, please. Yes.
Okay, that's
yes.
better? Sorry.
Yeah.
Along with Dr. King, who guided me with Mr. Victory in SSDF, the Tourism Enhancement Fund as well, we got some funding to actually launch a project what we call New Leaf Wellness Center. That was launched in July last year, where we offer 3 counseling services to families, children, youth, underprivileged or disadvantaged, from January to Soufrière. So criteria would be like low income, self-employed, or even though you employ single parenting who can't afford the session. From then to now, we have probably provided counseling to over maybe about 180 individuals, over 600 clinical hours with the team, and that is still continue going. One of our challenges right now, we're having a very high intake of very young children, from 6 to about 11, who have a lot of severe diagnoses. We're looking at conduct disorders, ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, and it takes intensive work to work with those children. So we're looking at those children, probably, especially young boys, who have very, very early destructive behaviors in school, where they probably suspended, they bully, lie, steal, those sort of behaviors. And New Leaf is trying to do some work where we're going to try to focus a lot about those early diagnosis intervention for those children. And that came about where we had a talk at one of the schools where on the milestones of development, a lot of parents not aware that the child's behavior could be much more severe than just a troubled child. And those children are being probably targeted, but probably even physically abused by the parents, because it's like, okay, you misbehave, you're troublesome, they've tried everything and it's not working, to the point some of them say that the child is possessed. So we have been doing quite a lot of work in that area. Our referrals are quite different agencies. We have a lot from the schools where they are probably not able to deal with certain behaviors, they will refer. We have from Human Services, a lot from probation, the social worker at the hospital, and as well self-referrals, parents or individuals who feel that they probably need to access the service. So that's what's been going on, and we are still looking for more funding to continue the work.
Yes, give thanks, give thanks. Well, I mean, I don't think she asked for a clap, she asked for funding, you know? So people should be putting their hands in their pocket. Eh? Of course. Yeah, so give thanks. What I would want you to just, that one was a good one, eh? Uh-huh. What I want you to just to give us is like 3 like instances of intervention. Now that we know what the problems are, right? What are 3 things that your establishment, your organization, and other people who intervene psychosocially, what are the 3 things that you think are critical interventions that need to be done ASAP?
Interventions, a lot of the persons who come to us are like, you'll probably find traumas, and I think that's really important. We offer like most time maximum like 6 sessions. Sometimes we'll probably find persons who come in and it's not so much as sometimes that they want the counseling, they need the counseling, but their needs are more severe. So for example, we have had persons who reach out to us and they have money to feed the children. And as much as we give the counseling, that is a priority. I think at the time I reached out to you about electricity, somebody that was disconnected, she lost her husband, she's not working, she has a baby, and they had cut electricity. So at the center, we try to work very holistically with the client, assess what are the most needs priority, along with giving them the counseling. We also try to, for example, like if it's a case where they are not employed, try to empower them to work, try to help. And again, along with SID, we work along with SID with that. But I think the most, I'm not sure if I said 3 things.
Just one more.
A support system. I believe a support system is really important. And sometimes they don't have that. So whether it's like connecting to a network, so you probably find persons like maybe they're ready to probably embrace change, but they don't have that sort of support where somebody to encourage them, or a group where they can probably be part of a group. where they can get that support system from that group. So I think things like community groups, networking and stuff is really important as well, along with the counseling and different agencies where we can probably access things like food and so forth for those individuals.
Give thanks. Give thanks, Honorable. Our next panelist, she's not the list. You know, in fact, if I'm proper protocol, she would have had to have spoken first. Our Honorable Sister, our Senator Lisa Jawahir. Dr. King spoke to me about yourself. He said, well, the two of you sit on this, I think it's a regional organization that deals with crime intervention and so on. And when we were organizing that panel, he said, if someone has to be on that panel, this young, active, vibrant senator has to be on that panel. Why do you think that Dr. King shares such levels of confidence in what you represent?
I think Dr. King is probably trying to recruit me for RISE. That's his intention.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you'd rise too, huh? Yes, so tell us what are the initiatives that the government of St. Lucia has actually implemented within their term in office to help in the intervention when it comes to criminal activities among our youth in St. Lucia.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I would first acknowledge the presence of Honorable Bradley Felix, the parliamentary representative for Choiseul Saltibus, Mr. Michael Willius, who is representing the Prime Minister, the senior advisor to the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, acting PS, deputy PS, the police. I'm really happy to see the police here with us this morning. Young people, Ms. Tresha Lionel, welcome back home. I see you somewhere in the back. A critical voice of the community. Members of the media, panelists, Dr. Stephen King. Good morning, everyone. Dr. King and I sit on a regional committee of advisors for CARICOM impacts. When I first got the invitation to attend, I was wondering why me of all people, but you know, every single one of us has a critical role to play in tackling crime. And I was really impressed when I saw the tagline to the bottom. Usually every single thing we do and we're trying to achieve, we say together we can. But this tagline says, only together we can. There's nothing else that we can do on our own, but together, united as a community, we can achieve such. When the Philip J. Pierre administration took office on July 26, 2021, within 100 days, the Prime Minister acknowledged that there were several initiatives that needed to be addressed urgently. One of the fundamental beliefs of the party that he supports is on education. And so just as Mr. John Victorin spoke about, some of the initiatives were to strengthen education, because we believe, and although we acknowledge in Nobel Laureate Week, Nobel Laureate Day was yesterday, we believe in the words of Sir William Arthur Lewis, that the fundamental cure for poverty is knowledge. And so we were able to provide several resources to strengthen our education system, but critical for us was to ensure that we deal with a scourge that we were experiencing. And no government wants to be seen as a government that is inactive as it relates to tackling crime. There have been interventions by previous administrations, and this administration saw it fit within the first 100 days to do several things. Number one was to reinstate the police training vote. This would allow for training of the police, providing resources for them to develop psychological, mental, social, people skills. And so in order to ensure that we form a connection between the police and the community, we saw it absolutely necessary to reinstate that training vote, which was increased by 200,000 under Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. Now, at one point, I worked with Betty Zhe and assisted the women of the India unit at Bordelais Correctional Facility. And it was there I got an insight and full understanding of what Nelson Mandela said, that our society is judged by how we treat the lowest among us. And so when Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, almost immediately into office, said that he was going to wipe out the records of young men at the prison who were in there for possession of small amounts of marijuana, he was met with some resistance. But what he understood was that a lot of these young men, they have these criminal records. They are released from prison. They go into the community. They do not have an education. They have not obtained a particular skill set. And so what happens? The cycle continues. They engage in deviant criminal behavior, and they're back there. If we can give them a fresh start by wiping off their records, they are able to get a job. They are able to fend for their families. They are able to take care of each other. These were some of the things that we did. Further to that, we have continuously provided support to the police. In Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre's budget address of 2023-2024, the budget address highlighted health and citizen security. We know that the health of a nation is the wealth of a nation, but the citizen security aspect of it really sent a loud message to the public that the government of St. Lucia was focused on tackling crime. Yes, a citizen security levy was introduced to allow us to collect revenue to be able to fund certain initiatives. That levy, the monies from that levy has gone towards purchasing vehicles for the police, bike patrol, strengthening regional systems and if you can remember, we had a situation on our hands and we got support from RSS. We were able to curb or minimize crime in the latter part of 2023 by 30% with the initiatives that were implemented. And when you look at crime and the holistic approach, Priest, you tend to think that it may just be tackling or addressing issues that will link the police and the public. But we have been able to do several things that we believe will keep our young men and women off the streets. One program that we implemented was the youth economy. Now, in my time when I attended Sir Arthur Lewis and I had some business idea, I had to wait about 2 years to establish a credit line with a bank so I could get some money to fund my idea. Now I have this idea. Some affluent businessman comes along, he's able to pick that up and do it. My dreams are crushed. But Honorable Philip J. Pierre said that he was going to put in place an agency to develop the skills, talents, and expertise of young people so they can be fishers of men, so they can be leaders, so they can employ, so they can be occupied, so they can be off the streets, so they can engage in meaningful initiatives. And the youth economy ensures that we have easier access to finance, training, mentorship, marketing, that our young people, over 300 of them, have benefited so far with a $5,000 grant. Now, as I told you, initially, I would have to wait probably 2 years to get a loan, but in no time, Honorable Philip J. Pierre was able to offer those resources. And I will just go quickly because I know time is running out. These initiatives don't just tackle the youth. There's the micro, small, medium enterprise, which allows for access to financing for persons who are middle-aged and older. We have strengthened our after-schools program. We see the strengthening of facilities and sports facilities. If you remember, during COVID, there was not much for our young people to engage in, and crime, violence, domestic abuse increased tremendously because, we were faced with a situation that many people didn't know how to handle. And so one area that has been strengthened is our area of sports, ensuring that the young people have a place to go sweat, to release their stress, to get rid of that negative energy. And so we see a lot of these things have offered us an opportunity to adopt a multi-sectoral approach to tackling crime. I know that Honorable Joachim Henry, and I was present at that moment when he met with leaders of the churches, and I know he's the minister also for ecclesiastic affairs. And one member of the congregation stood up and said, but we need the government to give us permission to do things. And I was very surprised because I remember growing up, the church, the community, we did not need permission from leaders to be able to do what we think is best to keep our community safe. And so I'm really appreciative of this engagement today. The Alliance for Community Transformation what the SSDF is doing, what the Ministry of Equity Social Transformation is doing, coming together, bringing persons from all walks of life so we can find solutions to address these problems that we face.
Give thanks, my sister. Well, I know that a lot of, even one of our cameramen at the back there, he was telling me about partial grant funding he get, and he's getting his brand new equipment and so on. I want to actually help you in that endeavor, because one of the key issues that we have is that the youth economy, the little 5,000, reaching the people who are really in need. Since I also represent, I wear the turban also of the Seeds Resource Center, we have people like Brother Franz here and many of the youth that have brilliant business ideas right in the community in Vieux Fort. I want to help you to demonstrate also that the youth economy is reaching down in the south. So I will select 5 people, you know, and I definitely will be in contact with you to see how you could uplift us down here. Give thanks again, all right? Mr. Stobie, you know, I know that we have been doing works from long time. And when me, myself, Dr. King, you know, when we were reasoning, we say, every time anything in Vieux Fort is happening, your name always came up. And I want to say that many of the meetings that we've had with the businesses down south, we find out that the percentage of people living in Vieux Fort employed in these establishments, you know, is normally like 5%. So if Coconut Bay has 500 people, some staff, only 25 of them come from Vieux Fort. But one of the key things about your True Value group of companies is that you make it your priority to employ, you know, I think up to 15–16% of your staff, you know, from the community of Vieux Fort. I have some questions that they write, you know, but I want to ask you, why?
Thank you, Honorable Priest Kailash. I think it would be for obvious reasons that we would want to employ directly from Vieux Fort. We are based logistically close to Vieux Fort, and it is very surprising. I mean, we have been operating our business for 25 years. It's very surprising that despite the efforts made by, I think, any business house located in proximity within walking distance, they're always surprised at the turnover rate of persons living, you know, close just in the Vieux Fort proper area. I think that a lot of people are very offended if you say to them that, you know, you do try to create those opportunities and it's for one reason or another that you're not able to keep these persons employed. And many times you work a little harder because they're just simple behaviors. You know, just even young people who are within walking distance, they will arrive late, you know, repetitively, despite the person who's taking a series of buses from an outlying district, you know. Even with those things happening, we have a handful of individuals who've been with the company for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they have proven to be very dedicated and loyal employees. And Honorable Kailash, I must say that being a part of the initiatives undertaken, one of the things that stands out to me is that a lot of individuals who are, a lot of individuals who are very busy in their own professional lives, such as Dr. King, yourself, other people who have their primary responsibilities, have put in a lot of their time and their dedication. There have been a series of meetings hosted, and I think that one of the things coming out of this forum, and this is months leading to this event, is that there has to be the appropriate mechanism to get the information out to the public. I think it's really important. Sometimes there are people who are not, I mean, they don't watch local news, they don't watch television, they may be on social media. So I think one of the most important things, and we've discussed it in past meetings, is ensuring that, just like Senator Jahawar just described, that the information is getting to the populace. They understand that there are avenues. The counseling services, I mean, we on occasion have referred to Dr. Joseph and her team of individuals who, you know, volunteer, or they do this maybe even outside of their main professional responsibilities and duties. So I think that this alliance will allow for the collaboration that we want to see happening between the business sector, between the government, between civil society, in a way that it should impact the very persons that we're seeking to benefit. So they are aware of these policies. It can't be a meeting like this without it getting to and touching the lives of the very people that we're all coming together to work together to, bring to them a brighter future. And I remember many years ago, as a very new business person, just working for my parents, maybe at the age of 24, 95. Oh my gosh, I just said my age. One of the first things was that Dr. Anthony had appointed me as a secretary on the newly formed Southern Tourism Development Committee at the time. And my first inaugural speech that was at the Club Aquarius, then Club Aquarius, now Coconut Bay Resort, was even in the infancy of my career as a business person. I recognized that we all have an express interest. We cannot sit in our ivory towers and think that we are not susceptible or we're not vulnerable to the effects of crime. It has to be an understanding that we don't turn a blind eye because we may live a particular quality of life. In any event, those issues that go unattended will inevitably affect every single one of us, no matter what walk of life. So that has to be the understanding and the appreciation that brings all of the groupings of individuals together, the personalities, and then, of course, to gain the momentum and gain the recognition by central government and the type of sponsorship that will be required to ensure that we are able to be consistent in those efforts.
Yes, give thanks, my sister. I know that one of the activities that we host, as you said, with the lateness and all these things, because at the Seeds Resource Center, what we hosted, and one of your human resource manager actually hosted a workshop to actually teach the people within the community. That's what your company and people like Macy's and all these different companies have also contributed at the services of the human resource managers. If you have to name one other thing that, as the private sector, that just one thing that you think is very, very important that private sector should do as a unit to help to not just curb crime, but just to create opportunities for people to prosper, what would you say that would be?
Okay, I have always said that one of my core beliefs are surrounding that any success I promote in any organization that we manage is really geared around ensuring quality of environment to all participants. So in other words, we look at our direct employees as stakeholders in the business. I think one of the main things that I am exceedingly proud of is in 2005, when we opened the first phase of the True Valley building, I instituted what I call the self-imposed salary, minimum salary, right? Meaning that it's not government mandated. And at the time it was $1,000, So year before last, in 2022, we undertook, again, electively, and I've changed the language. I now say that it is not that you are being regulated or a standard is being imposed upon you, but you adopt certain policies and certain approaches because of your belief system, right? So we underwent a comprehensive review of our salaries, starting with the True Valley company, and we found ourselves wanting, because all of us are aware of the continuous increase in the cost of living. And I was checking, and I'm saying that it's 18 years since that original review was done, and here I'm still at the 1,000. But if I have to be honest, and I am now instituting a threshold of a minimum, no matter, irrespective of post. So you have janitorial, entry-level positions straight from school, 1,250. It may not sound like much, but what it means is that you are undertaking a full and comprehensive review that actually translated in our respect to an increase in our salary expense of about 15% monthly. So you must know that when you do that, those who were there and had a particular range, they have been increased because they have been there for 5 years, 10 years, okay? So I would say that as a business sector, we have to be fair in our practices. I know that, unfortunately, some people are of the view that people can still survive on $800 a month, $1,000 a month. and people know what it is to go out there to shop. So as we bolster and we improve our business standards, our internal policies, our controls, we want to know that we are recognizing the contribution of the very staff that promote our success. And just by adopting that approach, imagine the opportunities that are granted to individuals, because it means that you're grading yourself on what you're making available in way of quality of life to the persons that help to promote the success of the organization.
Give thanks, my sister. Well, I must say, well, I think I've known you for probably 15 years now, you know, and I have seen, if I go to your shop now, a previous time I was there and I went to True Value, you know, it was with our brother here because he's doing his CMOS things to buy some material, and I called you that day. One of the staff I saw there, you know, she had probably just left out of school, you know, and it's over a decade that she's there, so you are speaking the truth. Brother Sherry, you know, you said that charity actually saved you. The people, the elders in the community, they were the ones who actually fed you. They were the one who clothed you. They are also the one who actually gave you a little broken toy. And these are the type of activities in your own growing up that formed you and helped you to become the person that you are. Tell us, you know, I know you said rise is rise, you know, but tell us exactly, what do you see yourself as a non-governmental organization and as a St. Lucian man? What are the things that are like emergency, you know, yesterday, right now, that needs to be done from organizations like yourself to help to uplift our young people here in St. Lucia?
Good morning, everyone. Protocol already been established. I'd like to recognize the presence of Captain Ken from Freewind. Can you stand up? Rise being, when we say alliance, we don't just mean local. We mean we're reaching out to any and everyone to get all the assistance we need, and we've been working with them for a while. They are promoting something very similar, which is the way to happiness, and I think that's what we're all looking for. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Miss Jolene. I can never pronounce her last name properly, Hampson. I know she doesn't like the spotlight, but I know all the work she's also doing here in Vieux Fort, and she travels all the way to the north whenever we call on her to have a meeting, so I want to thank you. Rise speaks for itself. I'm only here today because members of my community who didn't have much rose up and shared what they had. My story is well known to, if not all of you, most of you, from Grosile, born and raised, single mom, didn't have an education, and so that means the journey was long and hard. My mom, may she rest in peace, was a cleaner, garbage collector. She did any and everything, climbed coconut trees to sell, so the community had to jump in to provide discipline. I mean, I've been whooped by every single elderly in Grosile, you know, so, and then get whooped by your mom again after the whooping. Yeah, some of them I still, when I see them, my face still going hard because they beat you extra hard. But yeah, that was what saved me, along with my teachers. You know, the journey was a tough one. I wasn't an easy kid. It's sometimes you grow up and you feel like you have to fight to defend everything. I've heard people call my mom all kinds of names because it seemed like every year she got pregnant. So people used to use that term waden, like, you know, a duck with all her, you know. And so as the man of the family, because she was a single parent, the guys seem to come, baby come, and they just pull a Houdini. I felt like I had to defend my family's name and honor, so I fought a lot. I was involved in gang and violence, and even in school, you know, the police had been called at Castries Comprehensive for myself and my team. I've been through it, you know, and so, but the community never gave up on me. I had a meal when there was nothing at home. People would, you know, provide something, and so it is in my nature now, because I understand all too well how just that little plate of food you got, even if it might have been the scraps that they put together to feed you, stops you from attempting to go into someone's house to break in to get something to eat. And so that's where my passion and my drive for charity comes in. And you said something earlier, and I can't believe I heard it from you because I've been preaching it for a long time. We do not need any government to mandate a minimum wage or a standard of living. We need corporate St. Lucia to look within themselves, realize what they pay in people, realize the hours they're requesting of people, and make the change. We do not need to wait for all the consultation happening within the Chamber of Commerce and all this. We are human beings. And if you guys who are the owners and have all the money and go to the grocery stores and you realize that $1,000 no longer gives you the same thing it gave you 5 years ago, it's time to make a change. And maybe that will help. And the alliance cannot, and I will repeat this, the alliance will not survive if there is no change in the salary of people in this country. We can sit here till Jesus comes. If there is no meaningful employment, people will find ways to feed themselves and their family. So, my organization name is Rise St. Lucia. So let's do just that. Let's rise.
Give thanks, my brother. Give thanks. Well, I give thanks for that also, and would just like to acknowledge even your presence when we had that match through Vieux Fort, you know, and through your also social media, because you're not just a local person, you are known throughout internationally, and during that match, you came on 12,000, 14, how many people were watching? So even while we marching, because right now it's not just like St. Lucia. You know, if the Honorable put on his device now and start a live, you know, you'd have 12,000 people from all around the place we live. Okay, see, we are live, right? So these things are critical to just harness the powers, the skills of the people we have around us, and just to bring them in. And most times as a community, you see, forgiveness, I practice the principle of forgiveness. I just forgive myself first, right? So I don't hold things against myself. I say, boy, you think God going to get upset if I do that? You know, so many people doing all type of things. So if I do that, God going to be so upset that rain won't fall on my plants? So I forgive myself. You don't forgiving others. The people within our community that per se we might look at as the vilest kind of person. You know, and even when it came to the work that we did in Vieux Fort, Sister Betty Jean is someone who stood out, and she always said, "But priest, you know, I don't know how people are going to accept me, you know, or you see, no matter what you do, no matter how you change, you know, when you come and try and do something, these people always think that you are the same person, and so on and so on and so on." And these are the dilemmas that the people that have made that decision to transform themselves, that's a daily thing for them. That you that's not in that situation, you might not understand it, but they do. And they always have to go through that level of rejection. Right? So it is critical that within ourselves as a community, as a country, we practice that spirit of forgiveness. You know, just like God. I mean, thieves, rapists, murderers, anybody who plants a seed, the seed grows. Right? So the same way when it comes to our people who have done certain harms, as a country, as a people, it is critical that we embrace them. You know, and we give them the opportunities, because if it was not for Sister Betty, right, if it wasn't for her engagement in Vieux Fort, what she represented, we wouldn't have had the ceasefire. Right? It wouldn't have stopped. Even when it was in Cáceres, if it wasn't for her direct engagement, right, as someone who genuinely cared, it would not have stopped. It would not have stopped. We would have still had these things that are going on. So our next member of the panel, his name is Franz. And Franz is not just his fancy name. That's his real name, Franz Theodore. And they asked me for a reformed person. Priest, who you think that, you know, a reformed person? And he was a brother who was a leader of one of the groups in Vieux Fort, as we say, the gangs. The brothers from the West Hall group, right? And when we met some time ago, and from that point until today, I think 2 days ago I was speaking to an inspector of police, and he said, "Priest, what you think France really changed? You think that man just, they say that man just pretending, just to, but this is a youth man I spend time with. I reason with. He shares his passion with me, what he wants to accomplish. And right now we're working on a CMOS project. And it's not a CMOS project funded by government. It is, I as a St. Lucian man, and even if we say we have a resource center and we're waiting for the funding, he always say, "But priest, I cannot tell the fellas to not follow me and do these things there when they have nothing to eat and nothing to drink." And trust me, you'd go into Vieux Fort among the youth and them, and a lot of the people don't have nothing to eat. Right? And many of the houses, if you go Bruceville or if you go Westall, they have houses with like mud, that's the flooring. So the poverty and the lack, is immense. Yet still you have leaders like himself who have transformed, who have changed their life. And I think the Adventist church was a critical aspect of your transformation. As he called himself, the man of God. Right? These people, even to do the good that they want to do, it's difficult. Because he wants to do his CMOS business. Right? And he doesn't want to go into violence. And trust me, we have had to resolve countless issues, not only for Vieux Fort. And that's one of the things that we must understand. That people like France and the other set of people, it's not people that only have influence in Vieux Fort. They have influence in Dennery, in Grosile, in Jacmel. And when we could actually take someone who probably might have told someone, "Look a gun and go and do this," and tell them, "Look some rope, let's go and tie some CMOS," we as a community supposed to actually empower them. So I will allow our brother Franz Theodore to read it because he wanted to remember everything that he had to say. So he said he'd prefer to read it. But even before you read, just tell the people one sentence about yourself and what you actually represent. Bless.
Yes, good day to everyone. My name is Franz Theodore. I am 40 years of age. And I used to be a gang leader, born and raised in Vieux Fort, Westall Group. And on August 1st, 2022, I got baptized and married. And I am now a born-again Christian. Seventh-day Adventist, to be precise. Yes. Yes. I would like to give a short testimony of what I've been through throughout the years, from age 17 to 29. I've been through a lot as a young man, been shot 6 times. I've been to prison 6 times. I've been arrested 24 times. I've been to court, been charged and tried 14 times. Yes, also, I can say nobody in St. Lucia have lost more loved ones than me, dead or alive. Yes, I've been living my life paranoid for the past 12 years, and only last year I found peace in Jesus Christ. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, he said, "Come to me all who are burdened and weary, and I will give you rest." And that was the only time I found rest. Now I don't live my life paranoid anymore. Yes. But my main focus right now is to save as many youths in the ghettos as possible, with the help of Priest Kailash and Sister Betty, Dr. King, and etc., etc. Yes. Yes, so... Oh, okay.
If you want to.
Yes, okay. Crime and violence can be curbed if these suggestions are considered. Youths are given opportunities to be rechanneled, they focus and redirect their energies in activities that are productive and will yield reasonable satisfaction and benefits. So instead of going and snatch a chain, right now they can redirect and rechannel their focus on tying ropes and planting CMOS, and make honest living You know, so instead of only being consumers, they can also be producers for St. Lucia. Provide support on a long-term basis that will give them a sense that their efforts will be competitive and sustainable. Provide a design that will demonstrate success on a short-term basis. This will be the seed bed for long-term involvement in larger enterprises. Make available the tools and empowerment skill sets that provide a sense of stability and trust at the level of governance. Provide an environment of honesty, reasonableness, and fairness for youths to thrive. In other words, when we say we come and help the youths, we should not give them false hope and false promises. It will cease fire for now because they have hope, but then when you don't keep up to your word, then you'll create a whole new monster out of the youths. Yes. Also, I believe that for crime elimination, I believe that all well thought out plan crime elimination can work. As long as it's like anything we think of to eliminate crime, it can work. We just have to put the time into it and not just say it and just attempt it once and then forget about it. We have to continue. In other words, it cannot be a piecemeal approach, having no sustainable intention. Anything that is not sustained will not thrive. When a tree is not withered and fertilized, etc., it will die. Evidence must surface to show that the internal mindset is of youths are addressed. No small task. Real needs must be met and change will be evident. We have to meet the needs of the youths. The cause of crime must be addressed from the home also. Fathers and mothers must step up to the sacred responsibilities. You have to do what it takes to ensure that your son or daughter do not go school hungry, because then they will go in a student's bag and then they will steal, and that's where it begins. Yeah. So also, the religious bodies must become more relevant in taking the lead to provide spiritual instructions that are not ritualized, present settings and counsels that will awaken in all a sense of what is right, best, and good. This is an urgent need. I myself, I will be more than happy to volunteer as a missionary of my church to go in any ghetto whatsoever and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to the youth. The school system must be on the ball to provide academic and vocational learning that transform the head and hands of the youth. Not only the head, but also the hands. Teach them what the hands were made to do and not for illegal stuff, you know? For example, not press trigger. And yeah. And lastly, invite the Almighty to turn our hearts to Him. This has been my new road to a greater consciousness of my responsibility in helping my fellow youths. I am presently engaged in an above-board enterprise by which I am able to offer legitimate or good job opportunity to others. If the stakeholders managing the local and overseas market opportunities can expand, then the rough play at the wicket of life for the depressed youths can be addressed. Then the ball game will become more enjoyable. So let us spin the toss and commence the game.
Give thanks. Yes, yes. You know, if every clap was $100, we'd reach. You know, because, yeah, well, I will reiterate these things, you know, because even being within the community, you know, it does be hard for us, because people like myself and Dr. King, the people just treat us like as if it's we that governing. Well, they want this and it, you know, and I see like people, even if Dr. King is a pathologist, right, when we go inside of these places there, children that sick, then the doctor have to call that person, this person, and then if that person want this or this person want that. Then sometimes when we speak, we don't speak because just of our political nature, or we are politically inclined. I'm not politically inclined. I've never voted. That's why I didn't wear red nor, well, I have blue. You see, blue is a thing now, eh? So you have to be careful if you have red or if you have, yellow or these type of things. Even, even now we see our beautiful logo there, ACT. We have to ensure it is neutral, because this is an alliance, a coming together of everyone, not just based upon political inclination. And I just want to bid our stakeholders that, we really need to step in. You see, the reason why we do what we do is because we just see like the youths genuinely want to change. And when you see a man really want to try to do what they want to do, and it's a struggle. So sometimes not because you have more than anybody else, You just give because you really see that that person there they themselves could be an instrument of change. So as I want to reiterate, the youth economy, we're coming with the CMOS project. It's called what?
Holy CMOS.
Yeah, Holy.
Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Whether you eat or drink or anything you do, do it in the glory of God.
Yeah. Appreciate it. You must, back on track. So, definitely, we have to, even we just organized a market, we're trying to organize a market in Netherlands for him to ship his CMOS. We did one small shipment already. So at the end of the day, let's help the people to come out of what they are in. Because none of the youths want to be violent, And if we as community, as whatever your office is, if we are sincere, we will be able to uplift our people. In that note, our last but not least, not the least, Sister Benel, eh? Right? She is a youth advocate. I met her at our first meeting at ACT, the Alliance for Community Transformation, and after we had a nice discussion about her works in Vieux Fort, in Soufrière, I even invited her to be a team on our establishment here in Vieux Fort called the Seeds Resource Center. Now I represent the Ubuntu movement, but the Seeds Resource Center is not an Ubuntu movement initiative by itself. It is a partnership. So what the Alliance represents, the Seeds Resource Center is a microcosm of that. It's myself, Dr. King, Betty, Rice, Dr. Charles, True Value, Digicel give us free internet, So we basically just want the people that actually want to see the best things happen, make it happen. So this space is available for anyone. I know the police does use it for their, probation does use it. Anyone who needs a space to use, as long as it's for the upliftment, of the community, that is available. So Sister Burnell, as a youth, you represent the youth, a youth ambassador, right? What would you say would be one of the most critical reasons why a young person might be led towards a life of crime and violence?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me here this morning. Everyone here touched on multiple sides of crime and what could affect youth to go that route. Crime, as we know, is a highly complex phenomenon, right? Crime is multifaceted. And I have been fortunate enough to grow up and to see firsthand the effects that empowering young people, motivating young people, giving young people the opportunity to showcase the skills that they have, to showcase their talents, and to see how that can influence them to be change makers in society. I've been involved in a number of NGOs. I'm currently the president of the Soufrière Youth and Sports Council. And the work we do in Soufrière is testament to how coming together as corporate stakeholders, as church organizations, as a religious community, how coming together can benefit our young people. Research shows that most of the crime committed here in St. Lucia are from young people between the ages of 16 to 45. Not only are young people the main victims of crime, they are the main perpetrators of crime. But what are we doing as a community? What are we doing as youth leaders? What is the government doing? What is the private sector doing to really change the narrative that young people are lazy, young people are demotivated, young people do not want to find work? How are we providing opportunities for them? Sometimes they don't have a choice. Young people need to be gainfully employed, but are we providing those opportunities for them? Those opportunities that we provide, are they sustainable? All those things that we need to take into consideration as leaders in society. And that is why I come in. I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with a number of corporate organizations in Soufrière and nationally to help curb that whole crime situation. I've been fortunate enough to work with the SRDF in Soufrière, Bank of St. Lucia, to name a few, to sort of, provide opportunities for youth beyond the academic, to provide a holistic approach to development of young people. And that approach we take does not only involve academic, like I said, but technical and vocational, skill building, mentorship, advocacy. We have those young men coming out of the prisons, and what are we doing as a society to rehabilitate them back into society? We're a very judgmental society. We stigmatize young people, and we do it very disgustingly, right? How are we bringing up these young people? How are we empowering these young people? They come out of the prisons, and some of them, this is not the route that they want to go back. They don't want to go back into that route. But they go looking for jobs, and the first thing they say, that one was a thief, that one killed that. Why are we so judgmental? We need to give these young people a chance. We need to give these young, and I work with them, so I know firsthand that they want to be integrated into society as productive citizens. But we're not providing that chance for young people. And the Alliance is when I got called to be on the Alliance, it brought joy to me because I know, and this has always been my approach as a youth leader, that we need to come together collaboratively. It is not a SRDF thing, it is not a government thing, it is not a Priske Lash or Dr. King or Rice thing. It's a St. Lucian thing, because at the end of the day, we witness a ripple effect of the crime situation here in St. Lucia. Look at how Vieux Fort was when they had the crime situation going on. Every single stakeholder was affected, from the schools to the businesses to the tourism sector. Everyone was affected. Thanks to Dr. King, thanks to Priske Lash, who came together to help cease fire. But moving forward, we speak, we come to conferences, we go to forums, young people sit at the table and express their concerns. But it goes through the air of the officials or those who have the power to do better, and it comes out another. Young people are tired. They are tired of saying what we need. We are tired of saying how we can make things work and work for our benefit. But yet still we are victimized. Young people want to do better. You think young people really want to sit at the roadsides and commit crime? You think that's the life we want? Of course not. Of course not, right? And we are losing our young men time and time again at the gun, right? We are losing fathers, our pillars of the family. We have lost our spiritual realm here in society. We do not look up to the provider. We do not look up to the higher powers, God, right? But we put every blame on our young people. Let us work together. And it is, I think I've been blessed enough to being involved, with youth and community organizations for well over 12 years. I've been involved from as tender as the age of 10 in Soufrière. And I know that coming together can have wonders in our society, wonders. But it is coming together as a community, coming together as organizations, pooling our resources, not just through the talk, but through funding. We have time to fund and sponsor every other thing in society, carnival, jazz, everything. But when it comes to our young people and actually propelling them, we have the most excuses. Let us do better. Let us do better for our young people. And this is a call to government especially. This is a call to our private citizens. This is a call to the police. Let us do better to help bring up change makers and productive citizens in society.
Give thanks. Well, I mean, the place was hot, now it get hotter. You burn some fire. I see the Honorable Parliamentary Representative looking at you there. So we're going to make her the Minister of Social Transformation. Tell me one thing that you would do if it is that you became one of these policy makers. One policy that you believe you would put into effect that could help to achieve some of the goals that you perceive that need to be achieved.
Honestly, Chris, I don't think it's a one policy approach, but it's pulling together or bringing different policies together to help drive young people forward. So we could have mentorship groups. In Soufrière, we focus not only on sporting activities, and sports is important as well, but we don't only focus on sports, but we help with skill building. Franz mentioned about using your hands, so technical, vocational development. Basically providing those avenues for young people, those safe spaces for young people to go and develop skills and use those skills to bring forth income and employment for them and others alike.
Give thanks. Well, I'm going to hold you that because you know you there with seeds. Dr. King, you heard? Yeah, all right. Give thanks. I mean, give thanks for our panelists, our panel most. We're not the least. You know, give thanks for everyone who took the time, you know, to come in and sit down and share and see how is it that we are working together to make St. Lucia a better place. We only have about 5 minutes remaining, so I would just want to open up, if Honorable Parliamentary Representative for Susa, Honorable Bradley Felix, if you could just, you know, come and just hold on to the mics and give us a little comment, you know, as we just love to hear, you know, your perspective, and if it is that you have any question for the panel, you know, we will take that also. The Honorable Parliamentary Representative. My brother.
Thank you, Chris.
Honorable.
Yes. And first of all, let me commend ACT, and I really do hope for the success going forward. I mean, it's a wonderful initiative. Dr. King has been a foundation for a very long time in trying to change, you know, the way we go in dealing with some of the social ills in our society. Individually, I think one of the things as leaders and as, you know, people that young people look forward to is we need to be real all the time. There's a lot of pretentious people in society, and I think the young people can see right through it. And I think we as leaders must be real. And that is one of the reasons Dr. Sherry, I respect him because he does fire burn as he see it. He does say it as he see it, regardless. You know, and I think we as leaders must speak up when we have to speak up and stop looking at partisan when we're doing it. Because as a society, we grow regardless of the party that's in power. We grow when we speak of what we believe is wrong. You know, and, you know, I have a vehicle and I have printed at the back Psalm 133. And I want all of you all to look and see what Psalm 33 speaks about. And that's how I see myself, as somebody who always wants to preach love, you know. Everybody who know me know that's the kind of person I am. And it's not because I'm in politics that I will now try to sit on a sidewalk, or I am who I am. That's always the person I am. I am not a pretentious person. There's a saying that says, be careful who you pretend to be, because you will have to pretend to be that person for the rest of your life. And I don't want to work so hard. I want to be who I am, okay? And I think that is what, as a society, all of us must be. So I applaud the organization. prod Honorable Priest Kailash and keep rising, keep doing what you're doing, you know. And all of us here, let us make a change. Let us speak out. Let us do what we have to do. You put me on the spot, you know, so maybe I come a little more prepared. I really came to here to see, but I thank you for the opportunity, and I wish every success going forward. Thank you.
Give thanks, Honorable. Yes. Something fell. What fell there? Something fell, yeah. Yes, I mean, definitely, my beloved brother, you've earned the opportunity, you know. People that say, but priest, we are all the same, you know. I don't subscribe to that. You know, I know that, and this is one of the key things that people just do when they don't want to give someone their flowers. We all the same, you know. All of us are the same, you know. No, all of us are not the same. There are people who have given their life to public service. You know, even acknowledging the police, you know. If you hear a bullet burst, everybody run in that direction. When the police have to run? Where the bullet bursts. You know, so even when how we deal with our police, then we have to consider that. All right, so all of us are not the same, and as a community, as a country, you know, one of the key things I personally see that we need to do is just honor people. You know, I've heard people say, oh, Dr. King have been this, oh, Dr. King have been that. You know? Let's just honor the man, you know, and ensure that he is recognized appropriately. So the same way that people hear the bad news, you could hear what the good people are doing in St. Lucia. As we close, one of the key things that we would be implementing very soon is a television program called The Movers and Shakers. And one of the key aspects of it is it'll be just highlighting positivity, the good things happening in St. Lucia. There are plenty of good things happening. Yes, somebody died today, but somebody born today also. Right, so let's highlight the births, you know, let's highlight the people within the community. Right in Vieux Fort, we went to the a hydroponics place. What's our brother name? Murphless. You know, and he is what they refer to as a not 100% able person. But what he is doing is like more able than 100% able people. You know, so we went into a project that he has right there in Vieux Fort, whereby he's growing, you know, lettuce and other leafy vegetables through a hydroponic system. You know, and no one's highlighting that. That's phenomenal. Right? So let us begin to highlight the positivity. Let us begin to let the good news be heard, and movers and shakers, I mean, definitely that'll be coming in February, so look out for that, for all the good news. Before we hand over to the Master of Ceremony, Brother Dr. Venus Sherry, just want to say something. What, 30 seconds you say? All right, blessed.
Not sure if you guys are aware, but there's this big thing happening in our society where it's called the grooming policy by the education system. And whilst the Honorable Rep was standing, I could see his long braided hair and his studs in his hair. So I just want to say to all the people, we need to change our mindset. This mindset where we continue to associate long hair growing to criminality. Bradley Felix, I don't know if you're a criminal because I see you in the house. You know? So I just want to say it's the mindset. As we move forward in this new century, we need to change our mindset. We can't just look at a man or woman and think we know their story and we're able to judge them. So Bradley, I just wanted to say big up every people with long hair, you know?
Give thanks. Well, I mean, give thanks, my brother. In that note, I don't know if we could take one or two more comments from the audience. I don't know if our brother here wants to say anything from the police. I know that that Commissioner Pelius is active on that. You know, if you want to just say a few short words, I would appreciate love that.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Inspector Kim Roy-Rennie, presently attached to the Super Police Station. I want to thank you for inviting the Office of the Commissioner of Police to this event. I'm happy that I see quite a few persons I know friends from the time he was a young boy. And I could tell him I was closely affiliated to his cousin, conqueror back in the days. Mr. Cuthbert Peter was a fellow colleague of mine at police training school 24 years ago. It is important that there is a holistic understanding of the phenomenon of crime, and that at the end of the day, for us to accomplish and achieve the kind of result that we wish, there must be a collaborative effort like this. It's unfortunate I don't see the police on the panel. I think there's a great contribution that the police have to make towards, such an initiative. But it's important that when we look forward, and I'm happy because from their perspective, there's a plan on how they will tackle the youth ills in our society. And as a country, it is important that we have a holistic plan as to where do we see ourselves, not only in the next 5 years, not only in the next 10 years, but in the next 20 years, next 100 years, so that at the end of the day, we could begin to evaluate and assess where we have gone wrong and what we need to fix. We hear a lot of talk, and when we speak of our security as a country, the focus seems to be, and we use the broad term, our national security, but all the attention is placed on civil security, crime. But in order for there to be a holistic development, we have to factor all the subsector of national security. And I heard mentioned earlier, food security, health. A parent who has a child who is sick will engage in criminality to get that child well. A child who is hungry will engage in criminality to be fed. And unless we look at that holistically, and unless we work together, and it's unfortunate that sometimes I get the perception that the police is there as the one with the whip to deal with the deviant one. And it is not supposed to be that. Everyone has a right in this country. Everyone has a right to life, the fundamental rights and freedom. The police is to ensure that everybody enjoys that right, not to be the one with the whip to deal with, the deviant ones. So if we understand that, the police is a partner in this entire initiative, and that whether it's the Rastaman or the ghetto youth, because I could tell you, 24 years in the service, I have seen, and every year, for the past 10 years, we've been between 50 and 75 homicides. And I could tell you, almost 75% of those young men, I have sat down and have a conversation with them, have understood who they are, where they came from. How many of them could tell you about his cousin Conqueror? And how many of them could tell you about Bombay? And how many of them could tell you about, the Jacob Owen Jules? What's the story? How many of us know that? Know where they came from? I have, because I have met with them. And every time you hear homicide and you hear the name, you say, but I just spoke to this guy. And as a police officer, it's not about trying to jail and punish somebody. It's about us understanding, seeing how we could work with everybody. So on behalf of the Office of the Commissioner, I want to thank you for the opportunity to just express how the police intend on partnering, and that you should consider putting us on that panel. I can't say I'll be the representative.
Say your name again.
Inspector Kimroy Rennie.
Kimroy Rennie. Give the Honorable a hand again.
Thank you very much.
I think that would have been a mistake if we never bring the Inspector Rennie on there. I think that we'll get some whip. I mean, we're coming to you back on track shortly. The Commissioner of Police, she should have been on the panel. It was our intention. You know that she's a very, engaged person. The police is a critical partner in everything that we are doing. Our Assistant Commissioner of Police, Shalry, even when we had that match and that session in the pond in Vieux Fort, that was within a 24-hour notice that we were accommodated by the police. So we don't only see the police as the whip, but as a partner in community development. And as I always tell people is that if the police themselves, as you speak, know their own value, the police is the person that guarantees that the weak is not, taken advantage of by the poor, just because of just being that person who guarantees that. So we love the police, and I was speaking to my cousin, who is basically a retired police, and he said, Priest, blood always thicker than water, boy. When you used to arrest you for this little marijuana thing all the time, that used to hurt me, And that's the first time we've had such an in-depth conversation, whereby you could see, because the police always in the uniform, you never get that touching conversation, and I was touched by that, to see the human side of what the police, probably Dr. King was changing him from force to something else, though. The police power, the police love have to give to our community. So give thanks, my brother, for sharing the word. We have any other comments before we yes, Honorable. We'll take one more, and then we will give our panelists, each one of them, 40 seconds to just say some closing remarks. Yes.
Thank God. Ladies and gentlemen, I have never been so moved to stand up and let you know that there is a God that created heaven and earth. This gentleman, I remember I preached at Bodley, and he was sitting up front. After I preached this sermon, this gentleman, I saw him with 2 bodyguards walking in Vieux Fort. Am I speaking the truth?
Yes, you are.
I'm speaking the truth. I said to myself, where in St. Lucia can people walk with bodyguards except they are prime ministers or perhaps somebody of some royalty? And today, to God be the glory. He does not apologize for telling you and I, God made the way and God is the way. And I want to tell everybody in this country, I have now joined Bodley as the chaplain. I have worked at Boys Center for 30 years. And there's what is called the FICA assessment tool. F stands for, are you a religious person or somebody of faith? You know how many inmates, when they walk into Bodley and when they leave Bodley, I ask them, are you spiritual? Are you religious? And some of them have not been to church in how many years, Lord? Then I ask them, what impact does the church and spirituality have on you? And they said to me, well, in my decisions making, I hardly pray. I don't know when last I go to pray. I'm saying to all the churches, the guys before they end up Bodley, they have backslide from your church more than 20 years. There is nobody who go on their knees and pray and just accidentally commit crime. Folks, we need to turn back to God. We need to do that. That's not a religious jargon, The Bible says, except the Lord build the house, the labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord watch the city, the watchman watcheth in vain. Psalm 127. And I want to tell you, bro, may God bless you. And if you need my help, you have my toe and my top of my head. You are doing the right thing, and if God is on your side, no one can be against you. I'm just fed up of we just putting God out of the equation. It's time to get God back into the center of everything. And let us, I don't care who you have become, politician, professional, you know deep down inside there is a God. Stop playing, dancing, let us shoot to the goal. It's time, St. Lucia, let us turn back to God. You may have your reservation about Hail Selassie, Jesus, and the Muslim. I understand all that. And finally, my friend, Kendall John, please stand. Please stand, please stand. You don't want to stand, I know that. 40 years he has been supporting me. And this idea of ACT, let the truth be said, it was Kendall that came to the desk when all of us met and he said, Alliance for Community Transformation. May God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me, but let us turn back to God. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Yes. Well, give thanks. He's giving his toe on the top of his head and some money. Right, so we back on track. We on you because we need rolls of rope to run the thing. You all build a shed already? Yes. Okay, so we build the shed already. We're trying the CMOS. So we'll be back on track with you shortly. Honorable sister, just please make it short as we have to close off.
Thank you, priest.
You're welcome.
I just want us, the adults sitting here, to stop a minute, pause, a lot of talk, ourselves and we talk God, but we must act God. Let this alliance help us to recognize that we must act God. I heard Psalm 133, and Honorable Bradley did not say it. For brothers and sisters to live together. Stop the talk, let us act, and let us, the adults, be the role models for the youth. They learn from us. Okay, thank you.
Give thanks. Well, in that light, I'm just going to stand up to, choose one of the children here, our beautiful, children. Children are not kids, they are children. They have lots of chi, which is like energy. Chi, tai chi, yeah, children. We want one of you to come and say something. Just any one of you, bless.
Hello, good morning. I'm a student of Mikusek, and I find it was a very interesting discussion, and especially you. I can't recall a name, but I find you really spoke out for the young people out there, and I do like that.
You just got the photo already?
So I wish you all the best of luck, and may God be with you all.
Blessed. We have any? I know you just speak very eloquently yourself. You have something to say? I can see that. You sure? What a young man that was there. My brother. Nothing? All right. So give thanks. They say the truth shall come from the mouth of the babes and suckling. In closing, I just want to invite, starting from Dr. Joseph, just a brief, and brief means brief, as we go down the line and just close off.
I just want to leave with that information. I know a lot of times we talk about crime, or we talk about jobs, putting out more there for the youth. But I think one of the most important things is a mental state of mind. Unless I think we work on that, even though you put job opportunities, and if somebody is not in a right mental state of mind, they will not go to the job, they will not stay in the job either. I think with the wellness center, where through SEEDS as well, working with SEEDS, the community, the different organizations, being able to probably refer or have those persons come in to get some counseling where they could actually try to change those behaviors, empower them, probably look at other means of ways of doing things, work on those traumas. Also, we have those persons who have the traumas, they probably go back in a cycle because all they think about is revenge, probably going out back there and doing the same thing. Probably that's what they know, that's what they understand, that's how they communicate. Trying to work with those youth and changing that, I think that will make a big impact. So we have been accessing a lot. We have a lot of us coming in. There's still a stigma, and I think educating them as well, saying that therapy is just not about like you have a mental illness, but it can also make a big change into suppose, especially starting from the very young ones. We might not be able to change the mindset of the ones out there who's already committing all the crime, but the young ones coming up who have been victims of it, who have probably been stigmatized or probably see it as a way of managing or dealing with their issues, I think that would make a big difference moving forward. Thank you.
Give thanks, my sister. Mr. Victorin.
The fight against crime for all of us is a matter of self-preservation. Or crime affects our economic interests, our social interests, or mortality. So it is important that we all decide to support the agencies that are involved in crime risk reduction initiatives. You must not necessarily be a leader or work at the SSDF or work with SEEDS. Every citizen has a role to play in crime fighting. We must view it this way if we are going to be impactful. The United Nations, the minds that sit at that international level were not foolish at all when they decided that Millennium Goal number 17 would have been partnerships. I believe that partnerships are absolutely critical if we are going to make any inroads in addressing the issue of crime. At the SSDF, I firmly believe we can't do it on our own, and that is the reason why we are here today with all other partners. And I'm actually here sitting as a panelist, but trust me, my mind is already a few weeks ahead, moving into implementing programs and developing a strategic plan, getting things off the ground. It can't be talking. It simply cannot just be about talking here today. It must be about action. That is what I believe in, and my mind is all the way in the next few months, weeks, thinking about how we are going to move forward. So with that, I am asking the general public to provide the Alliance and the initiatives of the Alliance, the organizations involved, with the support that is required for us to really make the inroads in our battle against crime. With that, I thank you.
Give thanks, my brother. Honorable Senator.
Thank you. Miss Burnell. St. Rose, I heard your passion, I felt it. And I just want to tell you to do not give up. Don't lose hope. Many of the things that you would like to see, some of them have already started, some of them are being implemented. But of course, we cannot say that we are satisfied with where we are, and we must do so much more. I want to take this opportunity to thank Dr. King and SEED's Alliance for Community Transformation and the SSDF for this invitation. I want to extend myself into this group and hope that, whatever support I can provide as a legislator in terms of making the connections, I would be more than happy to do so. I would love to see a whole lot more young persons like Sister Burnell involved. And again, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. And for the people who are in the crowd, do not think that there is nothing that you can do. Yes, we continue to say act. Yes, we are depending on the community leaders. We are depending on government. But it is all of our responsibility to be able to look out for each other. I remember growing up in Forestier, you would forget your door open, leave money on the table, come back, and it would still be there. Or somebody would tell you, I noticed this person coming out of your home. But nowadays, we don't look left, we don't look right. We're afraid to look out for each other, and we've become such a cold society. I really want to make this appeal for us to care a little more. Care about your brother, care about your sister, because you never know. You never know what tomorrow could bring. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really enjoyed listening to the experiences of everyone, and I will certainly put you in contact with the youth economy, Mr. Franz.
Give thanks. Yes, Sister Burnell St. Rose, I think you had the people rocking, so
I hope so.
just take your 30 seconds.
Okay, so I would just like to say to our stakeholders that, and you would have heard it in our ACT video, that I said that our youth is an invaluable resource. Let us work together to implement a layered approach to the development of our young people, the spiritual community, our faith-based organizations, our private sector, Ministry of Youth, Education, Equity. Let us work together to really empower, motivate, and inspire our young people. And to young people listening wherever you are, I see you, I hear you, I understand you, but never stop, keep going. Only together we can.
Rastafari. Yes, give thanks, Honorable Sister, for these words. Brother Franz, I know what you want to get a little preaching there. Oh, go ahead, man.
Yes, I would like to send out a short message for all the youths out there. They come in the ghetto seeking for a father. I can tell you, because up to like today, they still call me Dado and Fado and Daddy and Father, and but there is only one Father. You call no man father but him alone. And you can find him in John chapters 14 verse 6, where he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through Jesus Christ. And to conclude, I would like to say a short prayer. So everyone should bow your heads and close your eyes. Our Almighty Father, the one who sustains all things, overruling the struggles of our lives, grant the turning of a new page for the youths of this country. Release us from everything. Restrict us from taking the path of progress. In the name of Yeshua. Amen.
Give thanks, my brother. So you all feel his sincerity? Okay, so I say about France, well, they tell me for one reformed person, and you reformed. And it has really touched me differently. And he's an example, He's an example of many young people. You have a brother from Grass Street. Right now, he owned the land that he had his little shop on. When I met him, he had a what they call a mall. You know what a mall is? A mall is like a little plastic bucket with cigarette, job, tobacco, little weed. You understand? That's what it is. And they sell from that. I tell them, you have a mall, you're a businessman, go and register your business. So he registered his business. He turned his shop into a shop. And like today, you remember when we had a live TV program in Marian Street? And live on TV, you heard gunshot bursting. That was 2011, 2012. When things were red, things were worse. In Castries, the police used to have 50 caliber weapons behind vans and driving the streets. It was terrible at that time. And youth out of that, people out of that have become like businessmen, property owners, people who could actually contribute within the society. So before we move to our brother Dr. Venus Sherry, let us, all of us here who have the power to act, just to help to sustain, let us do that. Right? Give thanks. Brother Sherry.
Well, mine's going to be for the leaders of our country. I'm calling on the political leaders. If y'all can't agree on anything else, you'll have your reasons why y'all want to keep us divided. We understand the end goal for y'all. But for us as a people, there needs to be no divide. Y'all need to act. Y'all cannot put this together and not be a part of it. I need the Prime Minister of St. Lucia and the leader of the opposition to act where crime is concerned. Do not politicize crime. Y'all might have the protection of your bodyguards and your private quarters and your security cameras. Most of us don't. And your decisions affect every single one of us. So if it's one thing I want to see out of this, is our political parties for one instance become one St. Lucia and fight crime together.
Give thanks. Mrs. Tovia.
Okay, thank you. I think everyone in the room today must be touched with the presentations. I'm very proud and pleased to have been part of this panel discussion. And we must recognize that we as individuals can make a difference. Whilst it seems like a mountain, every little intervention, do not discount the efforts that we make. Even counseling, guiding people, giving them another option. This is another area that I think we do a lot that may not be appreciated. It's not something you advertise, but basically there's another passion that I don't, as a matter of course, sign any job letters to any microfinance. Okay, here I am saying it publicly. Any microfinance organization, because I understand how detrimental that is to the financial life and health of my individual staff members. What I always say as a disclaimer is I will sign it at the end, but 99% of the time they will understand, and we intervene as employers. So you end up putting your money where your mouth is to again rates. Okay? So there are a lot of different things that we can do individually that will help our society, and it's through that sort of movement and understanding that as we become busy and we get back into the normal routines of our day, we keep at the center of our minds what was discussed today, and we remember that we play a critical role in being the agents of change that we're looking for.
Give thanks. Well, that's the beginning of, that was the talk. Then the action now begins. So give thanks for hosting us. I'll just pass over to the Master of Ceremonies. Give thanks. Oh yeah, one. Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, definitely we are presently having meetings. We have meetings. I think every month we've had a meeting, almost every Thursday, every month. So moving forward, I would think that as the secretariat will be established for the SSDF, that we should officially send invitation that even the honorable parliamentary representative, if he cannot be there, that somebody actually represents, so they could have that direct input. Mr. Victor? Okay, all right. So we'll be in touch with you. We'll give thanks again, and I'm going to pass on to our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Edison Lane. Bless.
Thanks again, Honorable Priest Kailash. And once again, I'd like to thank the panel for such a wholesome, powerful, informative delivery. Here we stand again in awe, looking at the leaders who are in the forefront of this journey towards crime prevention, working together, establishing a larger network, building connections, and essentially feeding onto our youth, our St. Lucia's population, what goodness that the facilities, the services have to offer. I would also like to welcome Mr. Michael Willius, representative of the Honorable Prime Minister, in fact, Chief Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister, to give us a delivery and to again edify us with some more powerful words.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. We are coming towards the end of the session, so respectfully allow me to adopt the protocol. I sat here listening from morning, and I kept thinking, you can't get that education in the best universities in the world. There's nowhere you could go to get the education that I got this morning. Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, Yale. This morning was a real educational session for all of us. And I'd like to thank the panelists for sharing all this information and their perspective on crime prevention and reduction in the country. We actually felt the heat of the youth. The young lady from Soufrière, by the time she was finished speaking, I felt the temperature rising in the room. You know? As the chairman said, I am here to represent and to make a few remarks on behalf of the Prime Minister. I actually have a speech that he gave me to read. I have accompanied the Prime Minister to many events. And what tends to happen many times is that by the time 3, 4, 5 persons have spoken, you know, you have sometimes the permanent secretary speaks, the minister speaks, the CEO of the organization speaks, and sometimes a featured speaker. By the time he's ready to speak, people would have said most of what he has in the speech. So sometimes he casts it aside and he speaks from his heart. But I don't have the privilege to do that. I'm bound to deliver the speech. But I felt that way. The truth is, most of what I have to tell you have been said already. But I still have to go through the routine. So bear with me. So the second thing is, I'll be holding my paper up a little bit. That's because I recently had surgery on my eye, so that the eyes are still playing tricks with one another. So I can't focus very far, so I have to take the paper up. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am pleased to have the opportunity to address you at the launch of the Alliance for Community Transformation through Crime Risk Reduction and Prevention this afternoon. This event marks an important milestone in our joint efforts to combat crime and the related negative effects on our country. In opposition, and now in government, I have always taken the firm position that an all-of societal approach is essential in fighting crime. In April 2023, at a regional symposium themed Violence as a Public Health Issue, the Crime Challenges, where CARICOM leaders identified common challenges, I advocated for that approach, which was adopted among a set of practical actions to combat the scourge of crime. While understandably, our focus has been on violent gun-related crimes, we must resolve to combat all forms of crime in our country. In that context, I want to reiterate my comments on crime in the 2023 New Year address, and I quote, "One definition of crime is an action committed or omitted that constitutes an offense and is punishable by law. To be specific, crime is anything injurious to public welfare. If, as a people, we can adopt a zero-tolerance attitude to crime, whether it involves running a red light, knowingly driving a vehicle unfit for the road, tossing garbage and broken furniture into the river, child molestation, or peddling untruths on social media, chances are we'll think a lot harder about arming ourselves with illegal weapons to kill, injure, or rob our fellow citizens. It goes without saying that no country, especially one small with limited resources such as ours, can hope to prosper when it is overwhelmed by lawlessness and antisocial behavior at all levels," unquote. When a government has to deal with crime fighting as a priority, it means instead of being able to focus on social and economic development, it has to divert significant resources on addressing the effects of crime and its negative consequences on the country. At the most basic level, crime fighting requires dedicated crime fighters, a properly equipped forensic lab, trained manpower, vehicles, detection equipment, border patrols, adequate police housing, witness protection, and an effective criminal justice system. The A.C.T initiative encapsulates a practical framework for the holistic approach that the government has been promoting. It brings together support services, counseling, education intervention, community outreach, law enforcement, rehabilitative services, crime protection programs, and most importantly, economic opportunities that are easily accessible to the youth. All those aspects are critical to a comprehensive strategy in combating crime and help the youth become productive and law-abiding citizens in our country. In addition, in providing significant resources to law enforcement and social intervention through various ministries, my government has created the Youth Economy Agency. The Youth Economy Agency seeks to assist young people to convert hobbies into entrepreneurship and skills into business through finance, training, marketing, and mentorship. It is our hope that by providing economic opportunities, the negative impacts of crime on the lives of young people will be reduced. As the A.C.T. prepares its work program to realize its mandate, I want us to critically examine the role of the correctional facility as an important pillar of the criminal justice system. We understand and accept that the main purpose of the correctional facility is to facilitate punishment of offenders by incarceration and to keep people with criminal tendencies away from the citizenry. We must also ensure that our correctional facility has a robust rehabilitative program, not only to facilitate the reintegration of offenders into society, but to reduce the rate of repeat offenders. To this end, we must all provide the necessary support to the correctional facility in its effort to facilitate the transition from inmate to a self-efficient contributing member of society. The launch of the A.C.T. today is the culmination of the efforts of the SSDF to create a platform for the country to combat crime through crime risk reduction and protection in a structured and coordinated manner. I want to commend the SSDF for this initiative, a proactive approach to problem solving, and to pledge the full support of the government towards its functioning to ensure the desired outcomes. It provides a unique opportunity for all people of goodwill who are willing to contribute to join hands towards combating the scourge of crime in our society. This is why an initiative such as this is so welcoming and relevant. I want to thank all individuals and agencies for your invaluable contribution to the conceptualization of the A.C.T. and for facilitating this launch today. I thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Williams, for your vital remarks, which have, of course, added to the value that we present here today and the body of information that we have had to offer to the people and to the youth of St. Lucia. Thank you. In addition to such, we would like to proceed with our overall vote of thanks, where we acknowledge the significant efforts put out by all of our stakeholders, the students here today, the teachers, the youth of St. Lucia, the public sector who is with us, our members of institutions such as Bordelais Correctional Facility, the senior members of the police, our senators, parliamentary representatives, our community activists, our youth leaders, community leaders, corporate leaders, our permanent secretaries. We'd like to thank everyone who has come together and who has begun this process and who has put their energy into the overall upliftment of St. Lucia, our youth, our culture, our environment, and the overall safety that we all enjoy. We thank you. We appreciate all of the investment of time, the resources which have been put in, those that will be put in, and of course the overall investment from all of the individuals, whether it be through services, through the network that we present, and we overall are grateful for your attendance here today. We thank you. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to our continued relationship and our continued support of one another. Let us continue to grow together, and it is only together that we grow. Yeah, appreciate it. And I would also like to invite Ninja Dan onto grace us with a special performance. Yeah? Yes. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I would like you all to sing the chorus. This is the anthem. Start it again, please. Yeah, man, and give me some more volume, man, you know. Yeah, man. Big up Cherry. Big up France, you know. Big up everybody on the board. Yeah. Big up the police and them there. Dr. King and them too, yeah. Let's go. Boom. Hey, this is the anthem, ready for action. Join the movement for transformation. This is the anthem, ready for action. Ready for action. Our name is A.C.T. and that's act. We all must act. We must act. You must act. This ain't a Hollywood kind of thing, none. If we want to make a change, that's how we must start. Police must act, the church must act, the cops must act, everybody must act. And if you want to make a big impact, we say alliance for community, transformation. Alliance for community, transformation. True crime risk reduction, true crime risk prevention, true crime risk reduction, true crime risk. Sing everybody. Only together. I want to hear you all know. We can only together. Boom. Train the youth for the future. Only together. Sing a man. We can better society. Only together. Boom. We can be sustainable. Boom. Every man, every woman, every Lucian. When conflict come, find a solution. Sit and talk and find a solution. Contribution to pick up no gun fi go shoot man. Walk away, walk away, walk away. Let your test me your testimony. Walk away, walk away, walk away, and boom, we have an action plan. You was education. So segment must act, Rasta must act, the priest must act, pastor must act, and even if you want to make a change, that's how we must start. Police must act, the church must act, the courts must act, everybody must act. And if you want to make a big impact, me say, only together, sing a man. We can sing, oh, yeah, we can make a change, man. Only together, we can better society. We can be sustainable. This is the anthem, ready for action, ready for action, ready for action. This is the anthem, ready for action, ready for action. This is the anthem, ready for action, ready for action, ready for action. This is the anthem, ready for action, ready for action, ready for action. Salute. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, you know.
Well said. Master of ceremony.
Oh yes. Thank you again.
For the chair, for the master of ceremony. I think we have to give Nanjadan, you know, some another hand again, because that song was written, you know. That song there was written in a matter of a week. You know, we had a meeting on a Thursday, and I think it was our sister here that said, Nanjadan, you know, we put him at work. And you know, and in about 14 days when he came back with song, you know. So that shows us that we are ready to act. 7 days, we're ready to act. Give thanks. Nanjadan, blessed.
Yes, thank you, Nanjadan, for the melodies. We feel uplifted and we're ready to act. Indeed. Ready for action. And I must say, I feel encouraged just by the energy of the room, and it's been amplified by the music, I must say. So, again, once again, we are grateful to have you here, and just to show some more of that gratitude, we invite you for refreshments in the first room, the room you would have passed coming in here from to our right. And we have eats and drinks, and we're ready to mix and mingle now, of course. So thank you once again. Thank you to the Honorable Priest, to the Ubuntu organizers, to every member of SEEDS, all of our allied organizations. We bid you a great thanks, and we're ready for action.